Okay, Pahrump, thank you for tuning in tonight. This is the last segment of the hour. Reminding you also that the phones are still live. 727-8750 is the call-in number, 727-8750. Please call in if you have any questions or want to talk about anything, any comments towards the end of this show. So while we were on break, the topic came up about the aspirin and the description I gave on how it actually denudes or can burn a hole in the stomach. And literally that probably never happens because your stomach is always churning and moving. But certainly if you're a diabetic, per se, and your gastric paresis and your stomach doesn't empty very well, or you take something and you lay flat, there might be a chance for that to actually happen. And usually what you see when you examine a stomach that has gastritis, you'll see these small punctate erosions that have taken place. So with that, aspirin. Well, aspirin actually, enteric-coated aspirin, the yellow-coated Bayer or Ecotrin, the orange-coated aspirin, the reason we like to tell patients to use those is because that coating stays on that aspirin until it gets into your small intestine. Well, what's the difference between the two? Well, in the small intestine is where you absorb everything. So it's not just a flat lining. It is like 1,000 skyscrapers. And each one of those skyscrapers basically has cells in there that basically are attached to a matrix that basically allows everything to be absorbed in there. And then coming down the elevator shafts would be the blood vessels into where you're picking up the nutrients. So it would be the difference between every one of those pieces of glass and, let's say, the Empire State Building being able to absorb an aspirin molecule or one house. And so what you're going to see is decreases in concentration of the salicylate molecule. So therefore, there would be very, very low risk of it actually destroying or causing an ulcer. So that's why enteric-coated aspirin are such a big issue, and I recommend if you are taking aspirin that it is the enteric-coated aspirin. Things you can use to help get the aspirin out of your stomach when you take it are a carbonated beverage, and carbonation seems to help the stomach empty much faster to get it into your intestinal tract to be absorbed. Food would slow it down but would buffer it. So with that being said, the going back to the COX-1, COX-2 slide, you'll see that the bad prostaglandins, the kidneys issue, it's very important to realize that one of the things that nonsteroidals like Motrin and ibuprofen and those products will do is they really do inhibit the blood flow to the kidneys. So what happens, what was the mechanism, or what is the mechanism? If we decrease renal blood flow, that's what our mechanism was when we were at a much more evolutionary stage where water wasn't available. So as our blood pressure dropped, it's because we were dehydrated. Back 1000 BC, we weren't taking blood pressure pills, so therefore our kidneys had to prop up our blood pressure in order to make sure that we maintained a decent column of blood so that we wouldn't just fall to the ground every time we got dehydrated. So if you falsely eliminate or falsely create that situation of dehydration, which is what you do, your blood pressure will go up. Now, it becomes more important as you get older when your blood pressure, when your kidneys are a little bit slower, or if you've got any blockage in your renal arteries. And in fact, that's one of the things we look for in patients who have uncontrolled high blood pressure is renal artery stenosis. And that's a condition where you get a cholesterol blockage in the renal artery, and it creates this false situation of being dehydrated. And your kidney secretes renin, angiotensin to try and maintain and hold on to salt and water. So you actually could swell and actually retain salt and water with using nonsteroidals. And so that whole mechanism in play is what can happen in that situation, meaning your blood pressure will rise, you'll hold on to salt, water when you're taking non-steroidals. And it's unfortunate as we get older, we have more arthritis, so people tend to use more of the Aleve and Motrin products. Now, why would you want to take a 600 milligram Motrin when 200 milligrams of Advil would do the same thing? So I suggest that you not take 800 milligrams of Motrin. I suggest you try one Advil too. You might find that you get the relief that you need without invoking all of those harmful effects on your system. With that being said, Tylenol does not do that to your system. Tylenol is hard on your liver if taken in large quantities. So you would have to take 4,000 milligrams of Tylenol in a day to invoke liver failure issues. And if you take a lot of Tylenol, you could kill your liver. So, but 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol a day is not a bad thing. If you have a lot of chronic pain, one of the causes for renal failure is chronic analgesic abuse. So if you're taking a lot of pain medications, eventually it may hurt your kidneys. So there's no easy way, but everything in moderation. Alternating Tylenol with ibuprofen can sometimes be a very effective way to manage some of the mild somatic pain. So why were Bextra and Vioxx taken off the market? Well, they didn't inhibit the bad prostaglandins, didn't inhibit the good prostaglandins. They didn't inhibit the stuff that maintain your kidney blood flow and your stomach lining. However, they did alter clotting parameters. Your blood became thicker. So if you were more likely to have a heart attack because of whatever reason, then it did cause your blood to become somewhat thicker. So that's why those were pulled from the market. Celebrex, if we look at the spectrum here, indomethacin, and it's really right in the middle. There's a drug called, a lot of people use it, called Mobic, and it basically is probably just to the middle, to the right of Celebrex. Celebrex is one of the 3 drugs that inhibits the bad prostaglandins less than it does the good. So, I mean, it inhibits the less of the good, more the bad, but it's very expensive. It's the only one that managed to survive because it's not way out there where it just gets the bad and causes clotting parameters. And when you see those commercials on TV, yes, indeed, if you're taking Motrin or Advil, you will alter some clotting parameters. If you're taking Celebrex, you're probably going to alter them more. And so be aware. Talk to your provider, your healthcare person about those issues. So again, moderation is the key. A little bit of Tylenol, a little bit of Advil to get by with as little as you need, and trying not to get into some of those problems. Now let's talk again a little bit about this holiday season. I want to thank the viewers who have tuning in for the show. I hope you've enjoyed this show. I would like a little more participation from the audience who's watching to call in and give me some thoughts, give me some questions, and going into next year. I would like to wish you a very, very happy holiday season to you and yours. Please be careful, be safe, and try and moderate your bad behavior, if you could call it such. Want to see you around next year and the years and years and years after that. Please don't drive and drink. A lot of people do. They think they'll get away with it. I'm sure the police force will be out looking for those people that think they can just, squeak under the law. Please look at your habits. Please look at what you're doing with your medications. Please try and consolidate. Please make a plan to try and reduce your calorie intake. Try and think about more exercise if you can manage to squeeze it into your diet. Try and think of those things that you can do that will improve your life and will help you live a more of a full life. I think our time on this planet is somewhat, as an individual, somewhat finite. It's how you live your life will determine how you feel later in life. I have a lot of patients that tell me, oh, you know, if I knew I was going to live to be 85, I would have taken better care of myself. Well, okay, that's true. So for those people that are not 85, that are 55, in the 50s like me and around that age, this is a good time in your 40s to really think about trying to make sure that when you do make it to later in life, you are in good shape and you don't have quite the problems that I see out there. Try to prevent those diabetes. Try and prevent emphysema and COPD. Try and read about, you know, cancer reducing foods. Try and look at all of that stuff that can help you live a healthier and happier life. I think we're living longer. We cannot believe that the medical system is going to be here, going to be as good as it is today down the road. So don't rely on Uncle Sam to fix it. He doesn't fix anything. Everything he touches turns to you know what. So it's up to you to be in control of what you do. And it starts with every waking minute. Be in the moment. Try and pay attention to what you're doing. Be observant. And of all things, be happy, be healthy, and be, I guess, be nice to the person next to you. One of the persons in here was talking about the holiday season and was talking about what it all means. And sometimes it just comes down to doing the right thing when no one's looking. One of the things I do like about the holiday season is we all get in a giving mood. And I think it is important to give to your fellow person. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the show. I've given my time to help you, and I hope that you enjoy yourself for the remaining part of this holiday season in the next year. Thank you very much for tuning in, Pahrump. This is Dr. Reiner. Good night.